Good morning. Welcome to Epiphany Poetry Chapel this morning, with many thanks to our curator, to Dr. Don Duncan, and to Katie Beatty, Jessica Hansen, and Bailey Tillman for reading this morning. Many thanks as well to the Credo students for their leadership and hospitality. I invite you to sit back, to sink in, and to let this morning's poetry wash over you.
In this Epiphany time, we give thanks that God's love is revealed to and for all people. The Magi came from foreign lands, diverse cultures, and even perhaps different belief systems, to bow before the babe who was love incarnate, God become human for our sakes. Jesus met the Samaritan woman at the well and knew her intimately, so well loving her for herself that she gave her whole heart and believed. No matter our place of origin or status in life, Jesus took up a journey to meet us and asks that we journey to seek him. Today we continue our journey of being, our adventure of becoming, whether or not we can see with the little light we are given where our journey might lead. Journey Home by Rabindranath Tagore. The time that my journey takes is long, and the way of it long. I came out on the chariot of the first gleam of light and pursued my voyage through the wildernesses of worlds, leaving my track on many a star and planet. It is the most distant course that comes nearest to thyself. And that training is the most intricate, which leads to the utter simplicity of a tune. The traveler has to knock at every alien door to come to his own. And one has to wander through all the outer worlds to reach the innermost shrine at the end. My eyes strayed far and wide before I shut them and said, "Here art thou." The question and the cry, "Oh, where?" melt into tears of 1,000 streams and deluge the world with the flood of the assurance, I am.
Journey by Edna St. Vincent Millay. Ah, could I lay me down in this long grass and close my eyes and let the quiet wind blow over me. I am so tired of passing pleasant places. all my life following care along the dusty road. Have I looked back at loveliness and sighed, yet at my hand an unrelenting hand tugged ever, and I passed. All my life long over my shoulder have I looked at peace, and now I fain would lie in this long grass and close my eyes. Yet onward, catbirds call through the long afternoon, and creaks at dust are guttural. Whip-poor wills wake and cry, drawing the twilight close about their throats. Only my heart makes answer. Eager vines go up the rocks and wait. Flushed apple trees pause in their dance and break the ring for me. And bayberry, that through sweet bevy's thread of round-faced roses, pink and petulant, look back and beckon ere they disappear. Only my heart responds. Yet, my path is sweet on either side. All through the dragging day, sharp underfoot and hot, and like dead mist, the dry dust hangs. But far, oh far as passionate eye can reach, and long, long as rapturous eye can cling, the world is mine. Blue hill, still silver lake, broad field, bright flower, and the long white road, a gateless garden. And an open path, my feet to follow and my heart to hold.
Twelfth Morning, or What You Will, by Elizabeth Bishop. Like a first coat of whitewash when it's wet, the thin gray mist lets everything show through. The black boy Balthazar, a fence, a horse, a foundered house, cement and rafters sticking from a dune. The company passes off these white but shop-worn dunes as lawns. Shipwreck, we say. Perhaps this is a house wreck. The sea's off somewhere, doing nothing. Listen, an expelled breath, and faint, faint, faint. Or are you hearing things? The sandpiper's heartbroken cries. The fence, 3-strand barbed wire, all pure rust, 3 dotted lines, comes forward hopefully across the lawn. Thinks better of it, turns a sort of corner. Don't ask the big white horse, are you supposed to be inside of the fence or out? He's still asleep. Even awake, he probably remains in doubt. He's bigger than the house, the force of personality, or is perspective dozing? A pewter-colored horse, an ancient mixture, tin, lead, and silver. He gleams a little. But a gallon can approaching on the head of Balthazar keeps flashing, the world's a pearl, and I am its highlight. You can hear the water now, inside slapping. Balthazar is singing. Today's my anniversary, he sings, the day of kings.
The Journey by Mary Oliver. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Men in my life, each cried. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations through their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice that you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing that you could do, determined to save the only life that you could save.
To Ireland, to Bethlehem, by Connie Vorsing. The plain is packed, and over sweaty heads, rumpled hair, the movie glows in the transatlantic nighttime. Murmur of priests and nuns and river dancers returning home. A baby is cooed by an older mother. A boy feels for his seat in the dark. I've read my books already. 2 days traveling, the difficulties, technical. I hate that money, says the priest beside me, and he orders another scotch, his third. The feast of the Epiphany tomorrow. He studies religious journals for a message, writes in a notebook, impossibly small. We are having problems with sound, the flight attendant announces. It is not your headset. And so the oceans swell in silence. Bright blue tumbles across the screen mutely, foam collapsing over a tiny, nimble figure, but she darts through to a green glow, sunshine through a veil of wave, her surfboard tense between her feet and the world's largest ocean. Her ride is long, impossibly long. Her hips stay low. A friend drops onto her wave, and together they glide towards the shore. No music, just water and that blue. I checked the Sky Mall catalog for something I might need and didn't know. There are reasons I am flying over the ocean, reasons I wish I were sure of. Someday I might say, yes, I chose him, and it wasn't wise. Or maybe we'll be old and surrounded by our own. The screen flashes. The surf is wild, but the bright sky makes me whisper, Hawaii, where nothing could be that beautiful but is. The waves are bigger, and she sets out, flowered bikini, hair pulled back in a serious bun. But too soon she's underwater, arms above her head, spinning down into a champagne sea. The priest asks, would I like some English chocolate? I say no, at first, then say yes. I say, how many euros for the scotch? The baby Jesus is about to be adored by black men, foreign kings. In fact, tomorrow. They're stumbling, the Magi, 12 days across an ocean and through the desert. It's hot, so they must travel at night. Who wouldn't? And there was that star, sudden and perhaps a sign. We've already tried to get there once, I want to say to the kings. It's cool in this 747, which later the pilot will land with only one engine, a problem with compressors. But what a sweet, sweet ocean. And those few younger girls who try to ride it. And what a night, warmed by the sun-shocked smell of saddle and sweat, the strong breath of camels. What carved, fragrant trunkfuls borne across deserts and ready to be opened before an infant God.
The essence of Christianity is a love story between God and ourselves. The word credo, I believe, comes from cor do, I give my heart. Faith, then, is an intimate meeting between God and each individual. Here at Concordia, we bring our hearts together and learn how to declare and live our credo. We move out from our individual lives to discover what it is to live among others. We move out of our darkness and into a light that can guide us if we keep our eyes fixed on that light. We journey together, not knowing what lies ahead, but believing in our hearts that the journey together is the life to which we are all called. I Tremble on the Edge of a Maybe by Ted Loder. O God of beginnings, as your spirit moved over the face of the deep on the first day of creation, move with me now, in my time of beginnings, when the air is rain-washed and the bloom is on the bush, and the world seems fresh with possibilities, and I feel ready and full. I tremble on the edge of a maybe, a first time, a new thing, a tentative start, and a wonder of it lays its finger on my lips. In silence, Lord, I share now my eagerness and my uneasiness about this something different I would be or do, and I listen for your leading to help me separate the light from the darkness in the change I seek to shape and which is shaping me.
Thou hidden love of God by Gerhard Tersteegen. Thou hidden love of God, whose height, whose depth unfathomed no man knows. I see from far thy beauteous light, inly I sigh for thy repose. My heart is pained, nor can it be at rest till it finds rest in thee. Thy secret voice invites me still, the sweetness of thy yoke to prove. And fain I would, but though my will seemed fixed, and yet my passions rove. Yet hindrances strew all the way, I aim at thee, yet from thee stray. 'Tis mercy all that thou hast brought my mind to seek her peace in thee. Yet while I seek but find thee not, no peace my wandering soul shall see. Oh, when shall all my wanderings end, and all my steps toward thee-ward tend? Is there a thing beneath the sun that strives with thee my heart to share? Ah, tear it hence and reign alone, the Lord of every motion there. Then shall my heart from earth be free, when it hath found repose in thee. O hide this self from me, that I no more but Christ in me may live. My vile affections crucify, nor let one darling lust survive. In all things nothing may I see, nothing desire or seek but thee. O love, thy sovereign aid impart to save me from low-thoughted care. Chase this self-will through all my heart, through all its latent mazes there. Make me thy duteous child, that I ceaseless may Abba, Father, cry. Ah, no, ne'er will I backward turn. Thine holy, thine alone I am. Thrice happy he who views with scorn earth's toys, for thee his constant flame. O help that I may never move from the blessed footsteps of thy love. Each moment draw from earth away my heart that lowly waits thy call. Speak to my inmost soul and say, I am thy love, thy God, thy all. To feel thy power, to hear thy voice, to taste thy love, be all my choice.
All Things Are Full of God by John Stuart Blackie. All things are full of God. Thus spoke wise Thales in the days when subtle Greece to thought awoke and soared in lofty ways. And now, what wisdom have we more? No sage divining rod hath taught this than a deeper lore. All things are full of God. Light that gloweth in the sky and shimmers in the sea, that quivers in the painted fly and gems the pictured lea, the million hues of heaven above and of earth below are the same. And every lightful eye doth love the primal light, the sun. Even so, all virtue flows from life's first fountain, God. And he who feels and he who knows doth feel and know from God. As fishes swim in the briny sea, as fowl do float in the air, from thy embrace we cannot flee. We breathe, and thou art there. Go, take thy glass, astronomer, and all the girth survey, of sphere harmonious linked to sphere, in endless bright away. All that far-reaching science there can measure with her rod, all powers, all laws, are but the fair embodied thoughts of God.
From the Creed of My Heart by Edmund Gore Alexander Holmes. A flame in my heart is kindled by the might of the morn's pure breath, a passion beyond all passion, a faith that eclipses faith, a joy that is more than gladness, a hop that outsoars desire, a love that consumes and quickens, a soul transfiguring fire. My life is possessed and mastered. My heart is inspired and filled. All other visions have faded. All other voices are stilled. My doubts are vainer than shadows. My fears are idler than dreams. They vanish like breaking bubbles, those old, soul-torturing themes. The riddles of life are canceled, the problems that bred despair. I cannot guess them or solve them, but I know that they are not there. They are past. They are all forgotten. The breeze has blown them away. For life's inscrutable meaning is clear as the dawn of day. It is there, the secret of nature, there in the morning's glow, there in the speaking stillness, there in the rose-flushed snow. It is here in the joy and rapture, here in my pulsing breast. I feel what has ne'er been spoken. I know what has ne'er been guessed. The rose-lit clouds of morning, the sun-kissed mountain heights, the orient streaks and flushes, the mingling shadows and lights, the flow of the lonely river, the voice of its distant stream, the mists that rise from the meadows, lit up by the sun's first beam. They mingle and melt as I watch them, melt and mingle and die. The land is one with the water. The earth is one with the sky. The parts are as parts no longer. Nature is all and one. Her life is achieved, completed. Her days of waiting are done. I breathe the breath of the morning. I am one with the one world soul. I live my own life no longer, but the life of the living whole. I am more than self. I am selfless. I am more than self. I am I. I have found the springs of my being in the flush of the eastern sky. I, the true self, the spirit, the self that is born of death. I have found the flame of my being in the morn's ambrosial breath. I lose my life for a season. I lose it beyond recall. But I find it renewed, rekindled in the life of the one, the all. I look not forward or backward. The abyss of time are not. From pole to pole of the heavens, I pass in a flash of thought. I clasp the world to my bosom. I feel its pulse in my breast, the pulse of measureless motion, the pulse of fathomless rest. Is it motion or rest that thrills me? Is it lightning or moonlit peace? Am I freer than waves of ether or prisoned beyond release? I know not. But through my spirit, within me, around, above, the world-wide river is streaming, the river of life and love, silent, serene, eternal, passionless, perfect, pure. I may not measure its windings, but I know that its aim is sure. In its purity seethes all passion. In its silence resounds all song. Its strength is builded of weakness. Its right is woven of wrong. I am born afar on its bosom, yet its source and its goal are mine. From the sacred springs of creation to the ocean of love divine, I have ceased to think or to reason. There is nothing to ponder or prove. I hope, I believe no longer. I am lost in a dream of love.
Go in peace, share the good news.
Thanks be to God.